Today's show is sponsored by Kyrios Consulting. That is Kyrios with a Y, Kyrios. Real estate investing can be intimidating. That's why you don't do it alone. Kyrios Consulting gets you from no real estate to your first rental property. My friend Steve did it right here in New Hampshire, and he wants to help other Christians do the same. Visit consultingbykyrios.com. Again, that's with a Y, consultingbykyrios.com. No more excuses. The world needs more Christians with passive income, not more passive Christians. Make it happen. The link is in the description. This is me 6 years ago. I was in a different house and slightly different stage of my life. I look relatively similar. I mean, there's definitely, I was a little thinner back then, I think, and definitely not as strong as I am now. I think the cut is coming, by the way, too. I gotta start cutting. I've been afraid to start cutting because I felt like it would kind of hamper some of my gains. You know, you gotta focus on those gains sometimes, bloat maxing, you know. But I think the time has come, so we're gonna have to take a look at that. But look at this guy, and let's listen to him.
Hello, my name is Adam Robles, and today I wanted to respond and interact with a video that was produced by the Village Church. The video features Pastor Matt Chandler talking about the issue of white privilege.
Now, I was a pastor back then, and you can tell that I'm a little, listen, I'm still me. It's still me, but I was a lot more. I don't know. What was I like back then? I can't say I necessarily encourage you to watch this video. It's 30 minutes long, and it's about like a 2-minute video from Matt Chandler about white privilege. And I talk about it for 30 minutes, which I talk a lot, so that's pretty standard. But this is the kind of video where people were making fun of me for overqualifying the last video, which I definitely did qualify it a lot because I don't know, I thought the qualifications were necessary. But back then I was a lot more. I don't want to say respectful because I think I'm still respectful. But, now I've seen too much. I'm just battle hardened at this point. You know what I mean? My kids are 6 years older, 6 years crazier in the world. And I'm just 6 years more experienced. And so, now I just, calls it like I sees it. You know what I mean? And so I'm a lot different now. But, watch it if you're interested to see what AD used to be like back when I was a real nice guy. I got Star Wars stuff in my background, I still have some of that stuff back there, yeah. But now I've got a big, I almost have like a tackle shop on this wall. There's just so much fishing stuff up there, I could open up a shop. But anyway, yeah, it was a lot different back then. Let's hear what I have to say for a little bit.
And I thought it would be helpful to
maybe I should critique one of my own videos. Do you think that'd be funny? I think that might be something. I don't know. I don't know if I could take it, though. 30 minutes of myself, and then you add on the 30 minutes of commentary. I don't know, man.
Interact with this viewpoint. As you will see, Matt Chandler is a white guy, probably the whitest guy you'll ever see.
That was my edgy joke. I was still super edgy back then, and he was the whitest guy I'd ever seen. Oh man, I don't know. I can't do it. What I thought I'd do today, I was thinking, what if I commented on myself? And then I thought about doing that, and I don't know. I just don't know if I should do it. If you guys want me to do it and I get enough interest, maybe I will. But I'm gonna need some feedback on that because I decided not to because I was just like, I don't know if I want to do that. I don't know if I want to signal against myself. I got to counter signal myself. Oh man, but if you watch this video, I'm obviously I know that the Matt Chandler video is just ridiculous and stupid, and he's just an idiot. But I go into it, I explain myself, but I'm very careful to say, oh, Matt Chandler is the greatest guy. I agree with him so much. I even think in the description I say I agree with him on 90% of things. That's actually not true anymore. I know too much about Matt Chandler now, and no, I don't agree with him on 90% of things. Percent? I don't agree with him on 90% of things. But what I figured I'd do is I'd go back to this because it started making the rounds again, the Matt Chandler white privilege thing. I think Megan Basham mentioned it, and then she retweeted it so that someone would know she wasn't making it up. And I can understand that. I could totally understand that, because when you describe this video, someone's going to be like, nah, it couldn't have been that bad. And you show it to them, and they're just completely shocked. But anyway, let's review it now. 6 years later, the new AD. You know, it's not Adam Robles anymore. Now it's the AD Robles YouTube channel. So let's do this. I could only find it on Doctrinal Watchdog. Thank you so much for archiving this. I don't know if he took it down or if it wasn't on YouTube. I don't know, but I couldn't find it on YouTube from the original source. But let's give you my take now.
So growing up, here's what that looked like for me. When I sat in school growing up and learned about the history of the United States of America, I opened up our books. I had to write reports. I saw in those books and read the stories of and wrote reports on people who looked like me.
So
and then
the first thing, and I doubt that I said this 6 years ago, but I saw so many people on Twitter mentioning this, and it is so true, and it's not the kind of thing I would have said 6 years ago, but I definitely would have noticed it because it's so in your face and patently obvious. This guy is just so effeminate. He presents himself effeminate, and he's doing the whole thing, and he's the whole thing, and of course he's just barefaced and just he doesn't strike you as a guy's kind of guy. He really doesn't. And I know that that's going to be heresy to some people. Oh, of course, he's just a bro. He's not. This guy is not my kind of guy. This is not the kind of guy that I would choose to hang out with. It just isn't. And maybe you would, and that's, hats off to you, I guess. But this is just, and the whole presentation, it's not even just his appearance. It's not even just the hand gestures, which I'm now doing just because I'm seeing it. So it's just... It's funny how that works, right? This is part of human nature. You mimic what you see. And so I'm going to start doing the whole that thing because I'm seeing it now. I do talk with my hands a little bit, though. I would have to admit that. But in any case, but it's just the whole presentation. It's down to the music, down to the fonts, down to the style, everything. It's just so geared towards women. And man, it's embarrassing because, guys, if you're honest with yourselves, and I got to be honest with myself too, this is the content I used to watch. It just is. And I'll be honest, like, it always struck me as a little weird and a little effeminate. But, when I was a younger Christian, I didn't know any better. I just assumed this is just what it is. This is just what Christianity is. And I've told this story before, but I'll never forget the first time I went to a conference that was masculine, and it was a street preaching conference, which is inherently a masculine endeavor. And it was just a bunch of guys, like, men of men. I don't know how to say it, but it was just a bunch of guys that, they go to the clinics and preach. They go to the colleges and preach. It takes a certain kind of guy to do that. And that the conference that they put on was nothing like the stuff I was used to from Gospel Coalition or T4G and all of this kind of thing. Every piece of presentation that comes from Big Eva is so effeminate, it is unbelievable. It's no wonder that men want nothing to do with it. And then the men that do want something to do with it, like a lot of them feel uncomfortable with it, but they just figure, just like I did, like I guess this is just what it is. This is just what it is. And you hear about Jesus, of course, and you hear Jesus, but you hear only the stuff that is acceptable to women. The stuff that's like, oh, he was merciful and patient and all. Yeah, and he was all those things. But then you bring up the other parts of him that aren't approved by women. And then all of a sudden, people like Matt Chandler or Jared Wilson say, well, you're not Jesus. Why are you trying to act like Jesus like that? You're not Jesus. And it's just a really sad state of affairs. It's a real sad state of affairs, my friends.
When I turned on the television, by and large, at any moment in time when I turned on the television, what I saw was people who looked like me. And then when I got magazines, or when I got books, or when I played with toys, or what I saw repeatedly were people that looked like me. At almost any given moment, I was surrounded by people who looked almost just like me. And so really the entire...
Almost just like me. Just the way he emphasizes words and phrase. They almost just like me. It's like he's apologizing for his existence. He's apologizing that he grew up white. He's apologizing, like he doesn't say I'm sorry, but this whole presentation is like he feels bad about this. Like when I went to the store, there should have been 20 G.I. Joes that were black instead of just 1 or 2. But when you think about, like honestly, think about your childhood. I mean, even if you grew up with nothing but white people, think about the shows you watched. Think about the toys you played with. It was always like 10% black toys. You know, the G.I. Joes, they had a couple black guys in there. They had some Mexican. You know what I mean? They had that. They had all that. And when you turn on the show, sure, there's a bunch of white people, but then there's always the Cosby Show. There's always Family Matters. Was that the black one, or was it Full House? Full House was the white one. Family Matters was the black one. There was always Sister Sister also. Sister, sister. That should be the theme of the Kamala White House, the Sister Sister theme. Sister, oh yeah. Is that how it went? I don't think that's how it went. There was always Smart Guy. You know, there was plenty of black people on TV. And let's just face it, nobody cares about Hispanics. In any of these conversations, it has nothing to do with Latinos. It's always black and white. So he's talking about black people. He doesn't care that there was no Mexican show. Maybe there was. I don't know. But yeah, so it's not true. He's making all this up. We played with toys. Yeah, they had black wrestlers. Man. Oh, you know, my starting lineups, all I had was the white people. It's like, well, okay, that's fine. But they made black starting lineups. Starting lineups were cool, man. That was good stuff. I mean, maybe he's right though. Maybe I'm the one that's wrong. Maybe it was just in New England that they had the black starting lineups and they weren't available in Texas or wherever he grew up. I don't know. Maybe they didn't have the black G.I. Joes and they erased them from the show back in Texas. I mean, man, even the Ghostbusters, they had a black guy. There was only 4 of them. That's 25% of the Ghostbusters were African American. What more do you want? 25% of the country's not African American, yet they still had a black Ghostbuster. Yeah, and he was good. You know, there is some truth to racism, though. I did find some racism. Finally, I did. So 25% of the Ghostbusters are black, and yet in the Nintendo video game, they leave him out. And also they leave him out in the Genesis Ghostbusters video game. They just refuse to have him. He's an unplayable character. I think in the Genesis, I think that was there a Super Nintendo one? I don't think there was. The two Ghostbusters Nintendo games, neither one of them had Winston, and neither did the Genesis game. They all left out Winston. That's racism, man. It's right there. That's it. I am now woke. There is racism. Racism's real, guys. It's real. In the Ghostbusters video game, they decided to leave out Winston. Main character. Man. It's just not true. This is all fantasy. He's just making this up to appeal to liberals. That's what he's doing. Well, when I grew up, everyone I saw on the TV looked just like me. Like a wounded puppy. Like, man, dude, like, somebody needs to get this guy testosterone shot. They have a lot of that in Texas. I don't know if you know this, but me and Andrew Isker were in Texas together, and what we noticed was that there was a testosterone clinic like on every block. There's 100 testosterone clinics. We're driving 10 miles. We see 10 testosterone clinics. Maybe they're just missing it in Texas. I don't know. I have nothing against Texas. I know there are good men in Texas, but my goodness. Hold on a second. Let's continue.
Their experience of my life has been one of I can easily find
this
people
guy
that
owns a steak company. This guy needs to eat some steaks. That's what he needs to do.
look like me. Almost all my understanding of what made America great is because of efforts and the work ethic of people like me. And I come from a lower class Anglo family, and so my story is kind of the American dream. Pulled myself up by my bootstraps, right? Worked hard, learned to work hard from my daddy, yada yada yada, right? I could go on and on there. But what happens in that kind of upbringing, which is fine, is that there were some lenses put over my eyes in which I saw the world through those lenses, not knowing what those lenses are. And so if I could kind of just be straight at what I'm talking about is that I have grown up with this invisible kind of bag of privilege.
Well, I guess this is not the whole video. The old invisible bag of privilege. Yeah, you just reach in. Yeah, I remember he said you reach into the bag of privilege whenever you need it, and you just use the privilege. You know what I mean? And you get your invisible bag of privilege and all of that. It's just that a boy, Matt. Doctrinal Watchdog. I think he added this. I don't know if this was part of the original cut, but he added this. But yeah, they are happy, man. They've got a white pastor with some clout, you know, talking about what they want him to talk about. It's just so sad. It's just so sad. It's just like it is the epitome. And obviously, sorry for not having the full video. Whatever. Who cares? Nobody wants to watch any more of that. I saw somebody say that like it's even creepier if you watch the video of him talking without the sound on, because he's just kind of like, you know, all that. But it is the epitome. Matt Chandler's presentations there, and I think really this is probably just Matt Chandler in general whenever he talks about social issues or political issues. It is Christianity when you have your testicles clipped. It's as simple as that. I don't know how much clearer I can say it. It's like it's eunuch Christianity is what it is. It's Christianity in service of the regime's narratives. That's what it is. And it's sad. It's funny. We can all have a good time making fun of Matt Chandler, and believe me, nobody likes doing that more than I do. But it's just pathetic. And I think 6 years ago, I didn't really know that. I just thought that he was this guy here. Just thought he was wrong, and he was just honestly mistaken. You know, he really comes from a good place and all of that, but he's just honestly mistaken. And I don't believe that anymore. I think Matt Chandler is one of these kinds of people, one of these kinds of pastors that more than anything, wants to maintain an air of respectability in a world that hates Christ. And I think he does want to hold on to what he thinks is the most important parts of Christianity. But what he thinks are the most important parts of Christianity, you know, the gospel proper and stuff like that, definitely important parts. If that's all Christianity is to you, though, and there's no application, there's no real way that gospel affects the nations, the culture at large, doesn't put you in these positions where you're against the culture at large. You know, you can't go along with the crowd. You know what I mean? If that's all it is to you, then you know you're a eunuch, is what you are. You're a eunuch. You think you're serving Christ in every area of life, and maybe you are serving Christ in some areas of life, but there are some things, there are some missions that you're just not prepared to do, and you're not willing to do. You're not willing to do because to you, part of your prime directive is to never, ever, ever this is the last thing on earth that you would want. You would not want the world to look at you the way they look at Westboro Baptist Church. Bigoted, evil, you know, all that kind of stuff. Like that's like the worst thing in the world to you. And so if the world starts to treat you like that, then you know you're doing something wrong. And maybe you have to reconsider your tone or your approach and stuff like that. And that's just not the case at all. You know, for all of Westboro Baptist's faults, one of the faults wasn't the reaction of the world against them. That wasn't one of their faults, because that's a natural reaction for people who hate the Lord and hate his people. They're going to treat you that way. To them, you're no better than Westboro Baptist Church. You're just a little less honest. You just are a little more sly about your positions. But the LGBT mafia looks at you the same way they look at Westboro Baptist Church. So that wasn't one of their faults. And so this is the thing, like you know, Matt Chandler video, the white privilege, if I had to go back and redo the video, sure, maybe I'd respond, you know, carefully and thoughtfully like I did the first time. But I'd also, you know, have to say that this is the example of eunuch Christianity. This is a neutered Christianity. This is a Christianity that cannot change the culture. It can't, because it's unwilling to, because they don't want to. Anyway, I hope you found this video helpful. God bless.